Welcome everyone, and thanks for taking time out and attending today's session on data science. Today's session is about everything to do with data science. So what we are going to do in next 1 hour is we are going to start the basics of data science, and we're going to look into how do data scientists work in their day-to-day life. We'll try to look into some interesting examples and case studies of how businesses are leveraging data science. And then if you're looking at building a career in this area, it's very critical and important that you should be aware of the entire technology landscape in the data science space. There's a lot of areas in which you can build your specialization on. So unless you're fully aware of the technology landscape, it would be difficult for you to decide on the right path. So that's, we will have a long discussion on the same. After that, we'll take the discussion to the next level and we will talk about various training programs that Digital Vidya has to offer in this regard. And those of you who would like to register in any of our upcoming batches, I'll give you an opportunity to do that as well. We'll keep some time for the open Q&A. So right now there are 8 of us in the session and more users would be joining in soon. So since there are less number of participants, let's take that as an opportunity. So I'm simultaneously looking into the question panel window as well. So anytime, if you have any question, you can just type it down in the question panel and I'll take up all those questions. Yukti, you've mentioned where is question panel? Actually the place where you've written the question, that's where the question panel is. Great. So let's get started. Let's start with the basics of data science. In fact, before we do that, I just wanted to have a quick check. What is your existing level of understanding in the data science space? So if you could rate yourself on the scale of maybe 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest and 5 being the expert. So what is your current level of understanding? So just type it in the question panel, just a number. Okay. Dr. Kotrappa is saying he's at level 4. Great, so I'll just make sure everybody can see that. What about rest of you? What is your current level of understanding? Krishnadas, you're at level 2. Okay. What about rest of you? Anybody who's really beginner in this area, like level 1? So yeah, you can just type it in the question panel, everybody, please. That would help me to understand what's your current level, and I can accordingly formulate the entire session. Great. Okay, Yukti, you're saying you're at level 1. Okay, great. So I think we have people from level 1 to level 4. That's interesting. So I'll start with the basics. And what I'll try to do is, rather than giving you a definition of what data analytics or data science is, I would actually try to work on a real problem, real business problem, the way the data scientists do. And I picked up a problem which is fairly simple, which we can solve in 5 to 10 minutes time, and which all of you can relate to, and whether you're a beginner or an expert. And while solving this problem, we'll actually distinguish what is this whole world of data science all about. So what I'll do is, as a first case, I would present the business problem to you as a founder of Digital Vidya. And then I'll come over to your side, and together as data professionals, we'll try to solve this problem. I picked up a problem that you guys can relate to as well. So what we do is, all of you are attending this webinar, right? We run advertisements on various platforms to invite people in this webinar. And the platforms are like, we run ads on Google, we run ads on Facebook. These channels allow us to target audience based on various parameters. Like we can target people based on their gender, their location, their data science experience, their programming experience, the overall years of experience they have. And I want you to help me figure out which are the right targeting options for the relevant audience, right? Should we target only male? Should we target only female? Should we target people from South India? Should we target people from North India? Which option is best for us? Great. So now that's a business case. Now I'll come out to your side and let's try to solve this problem. So whenever a business case comes in front of data professionals, the first thing they do is they try to think, where can they get some data which can give them some insights into this particular business case? And you have to think about it. Where should we look for data in this case? We can actually look at the performance of past ads, right? That's one thing we can do. Another thing we can do is we can actually look at the profile of people who are present in today's webinar, right? And try to correlate the profile of people who are present with targeting option. And that correlation would help us to will get insights into this particular business case. So let's try to do that, right? So as a next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share a form with all of you. So once this form comes on your screen, I'll just quickly share the link with you. Just fill up this form with all the relevant detail. Don't type in your real name. You can type in a dummy name as well. And rest of the details should be accurate. The years of professional experience you have. If you're a fresher, mention 0. If you have more than 10 years of experience, you can mention 10. Then your gender, where you're located, your existing level of understanding of data analytics, your likelihood to enroll on in any data analytics training course. So that's a question with which we would try to figure out the correlation with the other parameters in this questionnaire. Which industry you belong to, or you're a programmer or not, right? So I'll just copy this form and I will just post it in the chat session for all of you. So I'm sure all of you would have got the link. Godwin, I got you're at level 0. So great. So I hope this example will help you to understand what this domain is all about. So all of you must have this link by now. I'm just waiting for all of you to provide the input, and then we'll move to the next stage. I'll just quickly take a 30 seconds break for the same. So everybody click on this link, fill up this form, and then we'll proceed further. The more data points we have, the better will be the analysis. Is there anybody who's not able to find out the link of the form? You can let me know in the question panel. So just quickly do that fast, and let's everybody do it so that we can do a comprehensive enough analysis. You're saying you can't find the link. Here is a link once again for you. Everybody please complete it fast so that we can move to the next stage. Great, so we have got the first input from Krish. Rest of you, I'll just count till 10 and everybody please complete it within that time, and then we'll start working on the analysis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm assuming all of you are doing it. Just do it quickly. Let's get more and more data points. So right now there are 7 including 8 of us. Let's get as many data points as possible. Great. So if there is anyone who is facing problem, can't find the question, so here is the link, Mithal, for you. Wherever you're typing, that's the questions panel, right? So just this is the link of the form which I have to fill right now. I'll just share with you as well. And Yukti, I'm assuming you also have the link now. Great, so let's go ahead with this data. What I try to do is I would also combine this data with the data that we have collected in some of the past webinars so that we get into some meaningful analysis. So if you look at it right now, we have got just one data set, right? And if I look at the data that we have got from the past webinars, in total, we have about 853 records, right? Now, what I want to do is I want to figure out what is a correlation between all these metrics, like with the correlation with the likelihood to enroll into data analytics training program with location, gender, years of experience, data analytics experience, and programming experience. Now, to find out correlation between two entities, I need a number format. I can't find out correlation with textual data. So first thing that I have to do is I have to do data manipulation. So I would label all the male audience as 1, and if it all they were female audience, I would have labeled it 2. All the people from North India as 1, East to West 4, and I would label people from South India as 4, and outside India, Godwin has provided what input, I would label it as 5. Again, male as 1, right? And as a people who are a programmer, I will label it as non-programmer as 2. And I'm not going to use the data, the name, and the industry for now. So rest of the data is now in the number format. And if I combine the data of the past webinars, we have good number of records to do some meaningful analysis. Now to find out correlation, what I've done so far is I've asked you to fill up a form on Google form, and the data is there on the Google spreadsheets. Typically, Google spreadsheet is actually not used for data analysis. There are, it's not like an industry standard among the data, right? I think the basic tool that everybody uses Excel. But since we have to do a very, very basic analysis today, we'll do it within Google spreadsheet itself. So I would be using a function called Coral. Coral is a function that is available in Google spreadsheet, and I have to provide in the 2 set of data to find out the correlations. The first data I would be picking up is I would take F2 to F5 and then I would again take the same F2 to $F855. Again, the correlation value will be 1, right? That's because I'm using the same entities. So those of you who do not remember what correlation is, the correlation between 2 entities tells us how the 2 entities are related to each other. If the correlation value is 1, that means these entities are perfectly correlated to each other. When one entity goes up, other entity also goes up. The correlation value is -1, that means there is a perfect negative correlation. When one entity goes up, other entity goes down. And if the correlation value is close to 0, that means 2 entities are not related to each other. So let's see what is the correlation between likelihood to enroll in a data analytics training with years of professional experience people have, right? Correlation is 0.14, so it's positive, right? So that means people who have more years of experience are more likely to learn data analytics. That's interesting, but strongly positive. It's not 0.9, right, or a 0.8. So that, I mean, which gives us a clear indication that we should only target people who have more years of experience. So, but yeah, again, it's positive. Let's see what is the correlation between gender and likelihood to take up data analytics training program. It's 0.014. It's close to 0. That means female and male audience are equally likely. While I would say that female are little more likely. If you remember, we labeled female as 2, male as 1. So females are little more likely, but the number is close to 0, I would say. So we should not target people based on gender, and in fact, we should not target people based on location also. Again, the value is close to 0. Right? Let's see what is the correlation between the level of understanding of data analytics is 0.118. So that means people who have some understanding of data analytics, they are a little more likely to take up data analytics training programs. Interesting. Let's see whether programmer wants to learn more or non-programmers. Again, here the value is 0.01, but in minus. So if you remember, we labeled all the non-programmer as 2. So programmers are little more likely, I would say, but at the same time, number is close to 0. So we should not be targeting only programmers. That is very clear in this case. So if I have to take a learning out of it, I would say we should target people based on their years of experience. We should target people a little more, provide targeting in people with some basic understanding of data analytics, but we should not target people based on where they're located, their gender, and probably not with their programming experience. So we've kind of done a small analysis, and that has given us some insights into this particular business case. So fundamentally, that is what data analytics, data science is all about. It is all about following a process or a set of process and then use some technique, like we used correlation as a technique, and come up with some meaningful insights out of data. Right? That's what data analysts do day in and day out. If I have to capture it in the form of a entire life cycle of the problem that data scientists work on, so fundamentally, it all starts with looking into the existing business operations. If there are some existing inefficiencies, some particular analysis that needs to be done. So typically business owners, process owners, they are the one who give a problem to data professionals. Everything that is mentioned in blue over here is a work of a data professional. So first thing they do is, you remember what we did was data collection. So data collection, cleansing all the data, manipulating all the data, it takes a lot of time. That's the first step for solving any data problem. Once you've done it, then you use some kind of an analytics statistical technique to do the analysis. You could design some new model or use some existing statistical models as well, right? And that's what we did also, right? And based on whatever analysis you do, you come up with some insights. Now, at times, insights are not so easy to communicate. What do you do in that case? You use various data visualization tools like Tableau, like Power BI, data visualization libraries available with Python, R, SAS, so that you can actually insights properly to the people who have given you the business problem in the first place. And based on that, once you've done that, you pass it, the insights back to the people who have given you the business problem in the first place. They will take some action on it, they will get some value and time to look into the next problem in the business operations. So that's the entire life cycle of any analytics problem, right? If I have to sort of define you the landscape of all the kind of problems that data scientists are working on currently, I can broadly classify into two categories. The first category over here are the statistical problems. The problem that we worked on today was a statistical problem, right? So wherein you have to do some kind of a descriptive analysis or prescriptive analysis, that comes in the statistical category. Now, to work on these problems, you do not need programming knowledge. You can use tools like Excel, SAS, or Tableau. These tools do not require programming knowledge. And there are a lot of people who are trying to specialize themselves within the same category. But if you limit yourself to the statistical problem, then, if you limit yourself to the non-programming side, then you would only be able to solve the statistical problem or work with businesses who are dealing with statistical problem. But then there are another set of problems wherein data professionals are getting involved. And I can broadly classify it into the category of machine learning that you see over here, right? Let me just quickly explain for the benefit of those of you who are little in the early stage. So first and foremost, artificial intelligence means any program which emulates human intelligence, right? Any program that can do a work which is normally done by humans is artificial intelligence. So for example, if I write a program, that's artificial intelligence, right? And if I can write a program which can do a work which is normally done by accountant, I create a simple calculator, that's also artificial intelligence. So for that matter, we've been actually creating such programs for a long enough period. The change that has come up in the industry recently is, traditionally we used to create a program which used to behave in a fixed way. You used to define some set of rules, and based on that rules, the program will behave. But now you can actually use data to train your program ongoingly. More data you feed in, the better would be the response. And that's where machine learning comes in. So machine learning is all about using data to train program so that it can give accurate results. And there's another subset of machine learning programs which I can classify in the category of deep learning. So if you're using deep learning libraries anywhere, what that means is you're trying to create a program which behaves exactly like human minds. So most of the time I'll use this term called artificial neural network. So most of the time when I'm talking about deep learning, I'm actually talking about artificial neural network. if you give some data to a deep learning program, it will automatically try to identify patterns out of it and take learning out of that, right? So the main reason of using deep learning library is that it significantly enhances the accuracy of the programs. So as a data profession, since the data is involved in learning and deep learning case, that's where data professions get involved. So as a data professional, you could be either working in statistical problem or broadly in machine learning segment, and in particularly in the deep learning also. Right? I've been giving you kind of a more of a framework right now. So let's give you some to make a little more sensible for all of you. So first and foremost, I'll try to cover or share some of the examples that all of you can relate to. You know, you've been actually using these services for a long enough period, and you may not be aware that these services exist because there's some work that has been done by data scientists at the back end. So for example, I'm sure all of you go to Google, right? And whenever you type in some search queries, Google gives you suggestions of what you might be searching, right? And if you would have noticed, the quality of suggestions improved significantly. Why that is happening is because there is a machine learning algorithm that is working at the back end. So every time you're doing any search, it is self-training itself. And at times we really get amazed to look at the quality of suggestions that are coming out. At times we get amazed, how do Google know that this is exactly what I was talking about, right? And again, that's a work done by some data scientists. If you used Google Maps, right, Google Maps tried to estimate how much time it would take for you to reach from point A to point B. And if you would have noticed, the accuracy of this estimation has improved significantly, right? Most of the time, we actually end up reaching exactly at the same time. Why that is happening? Because there's a machine learning program that is self-training itself every time. And that is the reason now it has improved to such a level that it is fairly difficult for any other company to create program of equal quality, right? For example, if those of you who worked for any e-commerce player, one of the major problem in e-commerce company or e-commerce marketplaces in particular is that they have millions of products, and they can probably showcase not more than 15 to 20 product to a user on one particular page, right? Even if it's a home page. Now, which 20 they would showcase will decide how much of revenue the company is going to make. These recommendations decides close to 30% of the revenue of the marketplaces. And one of the leading companies in that regard is for sure Amazon, as far as the leveraging technology for the e-commerce marketplace is concerned. So if you go to, for example, Amazon, if you look at things like related to item you've viewed, inspired by your shopping trends, these are all lists that are there because of a recommendation engine that is working in the backend. And these recommendations engines are nothing but the work done by the data scientist, which is ongoingly improving itself, right? Inspired by your purchases, inspired by your browsing history, right? And those of you who have an account on Gmail, Gmail has a spam folder, right? And it automatically filters out the email that is considered spam. Most of us do not go and check those spam folders anymore. The accuracy of filtering out spam is close to 99.9% now. How come that efficiency has reached? Because of a machine learning algorithm that is working in the backend. Right? Even the email categorization part of the Gmail, which is into primary, social, and promotion. Now, how do you really, if you've noticed in the early days, these categorization was not really perfect. At times, some of your primary mails was also getting into the promotion category, and some of the promotion mail was getting into the primary category. But now, more or less, they've achieved the kind of perfection in these categorization as well. And it actually helps user to save a lot of time. It's actually helped user to spend at least 6% less time on reading emails. If you look at total time the world is spending on reading emails, that's a huge volume of time that is getting saved because of this, right? Many more examples. I just covered probably one or two more. In case of Facebook, if you upload any photograph, they have a feature of auto tagging. They would suggest whom to tag on that photograph if that particular person is in your friend list, right? So how do Facebook do that? Because the algorithm that is helping you suggest has been trained by all the data that is already been given to Facebook when people have tagged photographs on Facebook. So they've kind of created the repository of it, trained that algorithm, and now that algorithm is used for further suggestions, right? I would now possibly try to cover some of the businesses of how they're leveraging data science techniques, particularly in India. And I've tried to pick up different industry segments so that you have an holistic view of how exactly it is getting used. So first, starting with the car rental space, Uber is definitely the leading player as far as the leveraging technology part is concerned. So Uber has two apps, right? One of the app is actually given to the driver and one to the user. So I'm particularly talking of the app that is actually given to the drivers. The app that is actually given to the driver, those apps have kind of a recommendation engine which gives the heat map analysis of where they should stand to get the maximum number of customers. So for example, if they know that there's going to be a peak of or more need for cab drivers in a particular location, they would automatically create a heat map for customer to move to that location within a limited period so that they can get better fares. This is a good value add for drivers, for end users, because they end up getting the the cabs that they're looking at. Again, this is the whole implementation is based on the machine learning algorithm, right? In e-commerce space, the foremost use case that I talked about was building recommendation engine. Apart from that, data scientists are also used for other use cases as well. So for example, in case of Big Basket, they deal with perishable items. And the problem with perishable item is that their inventory is very less. So if the inventory is not reaching on store on time, even if there is a delay of half an hour, this means a huge business loss. And if the inventory stays in their store for a long enough period, that means there's a lot of item will get will not be used. So creating the right predictable model, handling the entire supply chain is very, very critical. And that's where Big Basket is using machine learning algorithm. Banking sector sits on a huge volume of data. So for all their problems like money laundering, fraud detection, professional lot, Axis Bank has actually set up a innovation lab based out of Bangalore, wherein they've actually given these problems to different set of entrepreneurs, and everybody's working on these issues. Insurance sector, again, it's huge. Max New York Life, it's not just using it for the purpose of upselling or churning out, see which users are going to get churned out. They're also using data professionals to recruit agents. So whenever a new agent applies in Max New York Life, they give all the data to the algorithm, and the algorithm try to predict how the agents are going to perform based on their past history. And that's a huge value add over there, right? So yet when it government, a lot of work, government can actually arrange every source they wanted. So from that perspective, look at this example, they're actually monitoring all the departments on this. They've created a kind of dashboard where all the departments are getting monitored, even to a level of how many street lights are currently operational in the state. How are patrolling vehicles behaving on the highways? So they've deployed various drones, and the drones collect the data, and based on the past records, they try to estimate how the patrolling vehicles are behaving. So again, in terms of the work that is happening, it's across industry. Wherever there is a data professionals are getting deployed. Right? I want to show a video to all of you, and this would sum up possibly the point that I want to make. This video is of a tool called Google Duplex. This was introduced by Sundar Pichai some time back. I'm sure some of you might have seen this presentation earlier, but what Google Duplex is Google Duplex tried to replace human in making calls. Right? I'll just quickly show you this video, and this probably would help you to understand this, and then we'll have a short discussion on the same. So just watch this video now. How do Google Duplex really work?
So let's go back to this example. Let's say you want to ask Google to make you a haircut appointment on Tuesday between 10 and noon. What happens is the Google Assistant makes the call seamlessly in the background for you. So what you're going to hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second. Sure, what time are you looking for around? At 12 p.m. We do not have a 12 p.m. available. The closest we have to that is a 1:15. Do you have anything between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m.? Depending on what service she would like. What service is she looking for? Just a woman's haircut for now. Okay, we have it 10 o'clock. 10 a.m. is fine. Okay, what's her first name? The first name is Lisa. Okay, perfect. So I will see Lisa at 10 o'clock on May 3rd. Okay, great. Thanks. Great. Have a great day. Bye.
So if you really look at it, that actually you would have a brief idea about what kind of jobs would stay in the market and what would go away. But to make something like this work across industry, it would need to have a lot of technologies needs to come to it, from NLP to speech processing, deep knowledge of data science techniques. Right. So I hope till this point, my overall objective was to give you a sense of how the entire industry is moving, and how do data scientists really work in the day-to-day level. Now, if you're really interested in moving forward in this domain, then you really need to understand what are the various specialization options. Now, before I talk about that, I need to have a quick idea about what kind of people are right now present in the audience. So I'm just posting this poll on your screen. Just pick up an option that best describes what you're doing professionally. So if you're already working somewhere, it could be option 1, 2, or 3. If you're working as a pro, anything to do with IT, you can pick the first option. Or if you're working somewhere in non-IT space, in a functional role, in marketing, sales, operation, finance, you can pick up the second option. Or if you're already in the data space, then you can pick up the third option. And if you're a student, you could be a student in a programming side, or you could be a student from non-programming side. So you can pick up option 4th or 5th. I would request everybody to respond to it. And I really want to each category of audience separately, because different category has different options. You should actually think about building your specialization. And based on the kind of audience which are present, I would accordingly pick up the accordingly share in remaining session. So everybody, please respond to this poll right now. I'll count till 5 and I'll wait for all of you to respond. I'm sure you're able to see this. You don't need to type it in the question panel. I request everybody to please type it. Option. Yeah, there are a lot of students today. That's interesting. So I would share the results with all of you once everybody has done with this. So everybody, please select the right option now. I'll count till 5 and then I'll close the poll. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody, please close it now. Okay, great. So here are the results. Most of you are actually student in the programming space. I had all the people who are working as a programmer or in IT space, that's close to 75% of you, right? And remaining 25% are working in some functional role, right, which is in non-IT space. So that's interesting. There's nobody who's a student from the non-programming side today. Okay. Great. So before I give you specific information on how you should build your specialization in this category, let me give you the entire technology landscape first. And I'll try to give it to you more from a historic perspective that would help you to understand the landscape in a better way. So traditionally, if you look at, there were people who used to work on data were statisticians. And they were like, if there is anything to do with data, give that work to a statistician, they'll work on it. The first tool that was ever created for statistician was SAS, and it is still used extensively. SAS is a proprietary tool. It is expensive, and you would find it deployed in a lot of big financial institutions, insurance banks, insurance sector, even in biocom segment, you would see that a lot of businesses are using SAS. SAS for statistician, it does not need good amount of programming background. If you're a non-programmer and you want to work with some of the with bigger organizations, SAS is a tool wherein you can actually build your understanding, and it is still used. And when people were using SAS, that was a time everybody wants some tool which they can use to do some basic work. And since SAS was expensive, everybody can't afford that. That's the time Microsoft actually introduced Excel. Right? The initial version where Excel were pretty basic, but over a period of time they have evolved Excel a lot, and now it has reached to a level that it is actually has a lot of inbuilt library for data professionals, and it is used extensively across industries. So if you have structured data in a particular format and you want to do some analysis, most of the companies are actually doing it on Excel, right? And you don't need any programming knowledge for the same. Right? So while people were using Excel, there was SAS that people are working on. That was a time people want to do something more than just the work that is possible on Excel. And first time ever, a programming language was created for statistician. So there's a new programming language that was created. Since this language has a limited feature, it is designed for statistician and it is designed by statisticians. So it has limited scope, but it became really popular. Till about, I would say, 3 to 4 years back, this was the most popular language where data professionals are working on. You talk to anybody in the data space, they would say they're working on R. Right? But what happened after that is, since the volume of data was increasing, developers started writing libraries in various programming languages which can be used to work on data. The most popular was Pandas, which was created on Python, and it became so popular that everybody started to jumping onto Python and use Pandas. And now it has, all the latest libraries, data space for data visualization, for deep learning, are all getting created on Python. It has become so popular that now people have actually left R and everybody is jumping onto Python. So if I can actually say that right now, if you're a new and you want to jump on in the data science space, Python is a language that you should start from if you want to programming route. Right? Another change that is happening in the industry is that over a period of time, the volume of data, the complexity of data, the type of data is changing and it's increasing multifold. Now, to take care of that, think about it in this way, that suppose you're very good at building 2-story house and suddenly somebody give you a project to build a 100-story building. Now, fundamentally, you have to do the same thing, but you can't use the same level of planning, same level of same level of tools to do that. You need new set of tools for the same. reason, new framework like Apache Spark was created, new programming language like Scala, new libraries in existing programming language were created to take care of that. But fundamentally, this is the whole world of big data analytics, I would say. But I would say don't start from there. Start with Python, learn the basics, and then jump on to the big data analytics. So that should be your path as far as the programmers are concerned. Right. That's a bit on the technology landscape. If I have to kind of share the industry adopting these two, I would say all the BI, business intelligence and reporting related work, the most used tool in the industry is Excel. So if you know Excel, Power Pivot, Power BI, maybe QuickView, you're good enough for most of the work that is happening in the industry in the BI. So that's good for you. This is good. It was the survey that was done by Kaggle in 2017. I'm sure the current report will be skewed towards Python. So if I look at specialization options, Python is a language which is far more relevant in the industry compared to any other language now. And so that's the reason I was suggesting all of you that if you want to build a specialization as a programming, from a programming side, Python is a language which you should start with. I have to share with you various career opportunities. About 75% of you are actually from the programming side, and about 25% of you, as I could understand, from the programming side. So it's possible to share with you both the options and various training programs that we have to take care of the learning path that you should take. So first and foremost, if you want to succeed as a data professional, you need to be good in statistics. There's no shortcut to that. No matter which set of tools you pick up, you need good knowledge of statistics, which means started from the basic descriptive analysis to like mean, median, mode, to time series analysis, linear regression analysis. You need to be very good with all these techniques. We make sure that we'll give you a separate course on statistics to start with, and then throughout the course you will be using all these statistical model a lot in your weekly exercises. Now, one is the knowledge of statistics. The second part is the knowledge of tool. So if you're going from the programming side, I would say just stick to Python. Don't worry about any other programming language. We do give a self-study core on R, which is for free with everybody who enrolled in the Python training program. But my suggestion is that it's better to build your depth in Python and learn all the possible libraries that data professionals use in Python rather than trying to build your expertise in multiple languages. And along with that, you can actually take up learning Tableau also. While Python has a data visualization library, but a lot of people from the programming background do learn Tableau as well. So this would be a good combination for you, Python and Tableau. And those of you who wants to who are from the functional role, you want to stay on the non-programming side, right? And or those of you who wants to don't want to get full-fledged into the data analytics roles, but they want to do better in their existing jobs in leveraging data, I would suggest you can actually take up learning Excel, and along with the Excel, you should also learn Power BI. And apart from that, you should also think of learning basic SQL. This would be good enough for all the work that you need around structured data. Now, if you have a statistical knowledge, you have tools knowledge, the third thing that is needed is domain expertise. That is also needed. Suppose if you go into the maybe a telecom space, you talk to some company and you don't know what is churning as a problem in telecom space. So, mostly whoever wants to kind of give you a project, they would not feel comfortable because you don't understand their business problems well. But domain expertise, it takes time to build up. You will not be able to get it so easily. So what we do is that we have created good number of projects with every course. Like with the machine learning course, we have 4 different projects also. So with every course, you do minimum of 2, maximum of 4 projects, and each project would take about 3 weeks of your time to complete. The more projects you would do, the better would be your understanding of the problems that are being faced by the industry across domains. So, but that would be the starting point, and from there on, based on the kind of industry experience you would get, you will actually build your domain expertise accordingly. Offerings that Digital Vidya has, actually, let me just talk about the various programs that we have to offer. So first and foremost, those of you at a very, very early stage, right, and you want to start with the basics, we have a very, very simple basic program on doing data analytics using Excel. This is a 12 weeks long program. You would do 3 projects in this program, and every week there will be assignments. Every week there will be one class of 3 to 3.5 hours, actually in total 3.5 hours with half an hour of break in between. And this would start with the basics of Excel to advance Excel on how to using various data analytics, solve various data analytics problems using Excel, and a brief introduction to Power BI and QuickView would be included in the same. So those of you who wants to do some basic work with data or looking for BI related job, want to stick on to the non-programming side, this is a good enough program for you. If you're actually from the programming side, or if you want to build your specialization in the programming side, you should take up the program of data science using Python. This is a 14 weeks long program. And if you're somebody who have not done programming for a while now, or if you haven't programmed earlier as well, Python can be your first programming language. People are learning Python in the so. And what we would do is that we'll actually give you some basic course those of you in the early stage to before we start with your instructor program. But this would take you in depth on various data science libraries in Python, including Panda and data visualization libraries, and give you a brief introduction to machine learning. Once you complete this program, then this, I would say, must program for everyone, for the developer community, wherein you would go in depth on machine learning. This is a 13 weeks long program only on machine learning, and you will do 4 projects, including 1 project on deep learning also. There's a huge demand of this program in the industry. We provide 100% placement support. So everybody who's actually taking up this program is getting minimum of 4 to 5 interview opportunities through Digital Vidya. So I would say people who wants to go to the programming route, you should take Python and machine learning together. And we have a special offer if you sort of enroll into the entire 20 program. And now we have an option wherein you can actually do multiple classes in the week and try to do it in the short period as well. And then, if you want to start with the basics and you want to do everything, I want to know Excel also, I want to know Python, and I want to know machine learning, then make sure that you budgeting sufficient enough time for yourself, and then you can do the entire all the 3 different modules as well. But the combined cost of this course would be close to 50,000. Right. So at this point of time, in case you have any question, you can let me know. I'm launching this poll on your screen. Which specialization option are you interested in? So based on your selection, then we would have somebody to call you information regarding upcoming changes, how you should go ahead and complete the registration. So if you're interested in taking data analytics using Excel and you only want to do that, you can just pick up the first option. If you want to take up a Python program, my suggestion is do the combo, do Python and machine learning together. That would be a better option. Or those of you who wants to do only machine learning program, there would be an entrance exam for the same. We would first ensure that you have good enough knowledge of basic data science libraries in Python before you take up machine learning. So I would request everybody to pick up the right option so that we can suggest you or give you further information on these individual programs accordingly. If you have any question, you can just type it down right now. Okay, Somraj, you have a question that I'm working in Excel and wants to move my career in data analytics or data science. Does industry will accept the same? So I'm not sure how many years of experience, Somraj, you have in Excel. More or less, and I don't know what kind of problems that you're working within Excel. If you're doing some basic work, then you will have to do good number of projects in Python. And but you need to have, so first and foremost, the first question you should ask yourself is, do I have passion for programming, right? Because you're going to spend a good amount of time in your career working on Python. If you have that, then you should do this course, complete all the projects which are there, and that's where you would start from. With the 4 years of experience in multi-profile, that is good enough. I think so. You're in the right stage. If you would have about 6 to 8 or 10 years of experience, it would have been a little difficult for you to make that shift happen. But with 4 years of experience, and since you've worked in Excel, that rest of you, please complete this poll. Everybody, please, and then I'll move forward. Nirath, you have a question. Are these courses typed live, or can we get a demo lectures? Yeah, the courses are done live, and right now I'm using GoToWebinar. The courses are actually done on GoToMeeting. GoToMeeting are even more interactive. Everybody's unmuted in GoToMeeting. So kind of session would be the same that right now it is happening. So from a delivery perspective, Nitant, you can assume that this is a demo session. While we haven't really, done any real work today, it's more of a demonstration of how the class would happen. But another good thing is that what we do is that we give 100% money back guarantee. After your first session, if you do not like our program, you can take the full refund. No question would be asked on the same. So that's how you can possibly think about it. Okay. Krishan Das, your question is that I'm a senior management professional with over 18 years of experience. I come from the business consulting background. I have some experience in business intelligence and creating dashboard with metrics and measurement. That's great. And what's your question? So I'm assuming with your experience, the Excel course would not make sense. And if you want to shift over to Python, it would be, I won't think that you would, from an industry perspective, it won't be that easy for industry to accept your profile in the programming role. At the same time, I think you are a much better judge to see whether the knowledge of Python and data science using Python, how will that be helpful in your career space. But from our side, we would ensure that you get a comprehensive enough knowledge and good enough hands-on exposure while completing all those projects. So the Krishnadas, you're asking for my advice, and as I told you earlier, I think you will have to take a call how much of a data science programming knowledge would help you in your career. But you would not, in most of the cases, you would not get the work or the job opportunities, particularly in the data science space, so easily, since you have 18 years of experience as an analyst in general and as a business consulting role. But within the industry, so one is the people who would actually do the programming and implementation, but then there's a lot of consulting role. and you've been already doing it. So probably you'll stick on to those consulting role, and how that would help you, how this knowledge can help you, is something. Can you tell me the difference between AI and ML? I think you missed the initial part of the session. AI is artificial intelligence, and everything is AI. Wherever you're creating a program that works like human is AI, right? Machine learning is using data to train those programs. So it's a subset of the artificial intelligence program wherein the data is used to improve the efficiencies of the program. So that's where these two things fits in. So can you send me the demo link? Can you please tell me some faculty will be teaching us? So if you go to our website, right, you will be able to get complete detail of the program. So I'm actually closing this poll right now just to ensure that I'm able to show this data to you guys. So if you go to our website, you know, you would get the list of people who would be taking your classes, and it's there on all the course pages. So whichever course you're opting for, you'll be able to get a list of them. The good part is most of our trainers are industry specialists. They're already working as data scientists in the industry, and they've been practicing data science for years now. And the kind of people who have designed this program are some of the industry thought leaders in the data science space. And regarding, so I think that's what you want to know about the faculty. And also, I would suggest whichever program you're interested in, you can actually download the entire curriculum, which will give you in-depth view of what would happen in every week. So that would possibly help you to decide how exactly the program is going to go. Great. So that's all what I wanted to talk about today. And at this point, I would wish you all the best for your career, and especially want to thank those of you who have opted doing one of the courses. Very soon, you would hear from one of us to give you further registration details regarding that particular program. Thank you very much. I hope you found this session useful and you've got some advice on how to build your career in the data science space today. Thank you very much. The session is now closed.